Visit OnTableTop.com and comment on all 3 days of the Flames of War Bootcamp to be in with a chance of winning one of 3 Flames of War bundles.
Hi everybody, I am back with John from Battlefront, and today we're having a look at another one of the books. John, we have one here that I'm saving for everybody.
Yes.
So we're going to go with Fortress Europe.
Please do.
There's something special coming that you guys are going to want to stay tuned for. But this is the new baby, yes?
It is, yeah. And I think it needs a small explanation of what it is. Mm-hmm. Because this army book is outside the norm, as in it has multiple forces in. Mm-hmm. It is very much geared to telling the story of the journey of World War II. Mm-hmm. So, of course, we have done quite a bit of late war already.
Yes.
So in many ways, we're going back to D-Day. Mm-hmm. Well, this is what this book is for, is we've just come out of mid-war, mm-hmm. and people have been buying and putting their armies together. Well, there was no real clear line. This is when you stopped using this and you use this. Mm-hmm. And we denote late war, mm-hmm. and gamers have mid-war, and you have these periods. But of course, that's not how the war worked.
Yeah.
So we have to choose a time. And Fortress Europe is definitely the start of the journey of late war. Mm-hmm. So what we wanted to do is make sure that the Big Four could all use their stuff. Mm-hmm. Excuse me.
You're okay.
If, of course, you just did D-Day, mm-hmm. well, what are the Russians doing? Sitting here going, just twiddling thumbs?
Yeah.
Everything like that. So what we wanted to do is make sure that everybody got to play with their toy mm-hmm. soldiers. So there are sort of 24 types of armies that you can put together with this book. Mm-hmm. It takes your mid-war armies and it puts them into late war.
Gotcha.
I've seen a bit on the internet is, Ferdinands. There were no Ferdinands in late war. And go, yeah, you're actually, in many ways, you're right. Mm-hmm. Except for the elephant hasn't come out yet. Mm-hmm. But what do we want to do? Take your money for your Ferdinand and now say, you can't use it anymore. Yeah. So in here, what we've tried to do is give you the ability to start off mm-hmm. with your armies and go there. And as your surprise bit later on, when the armies come out for each nation, mm-hmm. we'll then progress the war with their special things. Mm-hmm. But this one is very much designed just to help you over and get you going straight away and keep everybody able to play.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the last thing you want to do is turn up to the club and go, no, you're not part of the war right now.
Exactly.
That's not fun. Even at the event we're at right now, I've nabbed one of the faction starter boxes. I've built a 53-point list from it of Russians, and everybody's very happy to play with it because it's just another round of gaming, another way to play. But again, that comes back to the whole balance of the historical accurate gamer versus the historical Hollywood gamer. Is the way I'll describe it.
Yeah.
But there are a couple of things in this book that I would love to chat to you about because it's something I have always been trying to work my way through for Flames of War, and it's something that always is a little bit of a hitch for me. So having a little video.
Okay, well, I hope I can answer it.
it's actually incredibly simple and straightforward. My buddy John has tried to explain it a few times. So our John, not your John, you John. Our John. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So let's start flicking through the book, and we'll actually talk about what's in there, and then whenever we hit the point I want to talk about, I'll give you the nod.
Sounds good to me.
All right, so the book itself, we've got some historical pieces here showing where everybody was moving and such. And then we jump straight into the Americans.
Yep.
And a little bit of the history of what they were up to, yeah?
Yep.
And then we come to, okay, so this is how you actually construct an army.
Yes.
So what I would like you to do is, and this will be useful for any new players out there, give me the bare bones of how I actually use this force organization chart.
Right, you are. I will do my very best. Mm-hmm. So, sorry, got to put the old glasses on, getting old. So, what we've got is these boxes here, which represent what you're buying. Mm-hmm. So, if you're going with a tank company, you start with this box. Mm-hmm. You then are allowed to add support. So when you would go to the tank company, and then you would flick into the pages, and luckily Tank Company is the next one.
Funny that.
And this now tells you how to start making your core platoons. So you've got your command, and then you've got your platoons. And this one's a mixed choice, so you can have either M4s or M5s. Once you build this up is how you have got your army constructed. And the darker sections are compulsory.
Right, so I must have these before I can take anything in grey.
Yes, absolutely. And you must fill both of them and the
See.
command.
I see.
So once you've got that, you've got your core part. Then you can expand them if you want, or you can use, and I'm just going to quickly flick back, support. So you might just want to go 1, 2, 3 choices of that and air. I wouldn't advise it, but that is your choice.
It's one of those things that was always that little bit of a hitch for me. So having someone explain it and have someone to explain it on camera where people can just very quickly signpost their friends to go, here, this is how it works, calm down, is quite handy. Because last night, Chris was actually building up my Russian force for me, and he was quickly flicking back through the book, and I was like, what's going on? What's going on? What's happening?
Yeah. And that again happens. It's one of those things I always put in as assumed knowledge, is you assume that everybody knows as much as you do, and that's not always the case.
Exactly. Now, you've also got on here some of the key actual traits that you're going to see on your stat cards.
Yes.
And a little bit on why you might want to play Americans, what the force style is, and what the tanks are good at, and what the artillery is good at, which is nice to have. And then rolling through, so I assume this is just bringing all stat cards up to date for the new edition. And
points cost as well. Because, of course, some things that were in mid-war would be very, very expensive because they were in mid-war. But then they become almost a bit more of the norm as you went on. And then the super tanks would come in, and they become the super heavies, and that's how it rolls. You know, so if the war had carried on for another 10 years, let's say, maybe King Tiger 2s would have just become the normal standard tank, and then something horrendous would be, I mean, isn't it the Rate tank or something like that?
Well, the Mouse, which they made a few prototypes of, and the Rat was actually only ever, I think, a rough
pencil
sketch.
drawing.
Ridiculous. I think it was like on a cocktail napkin or something.
Absolutely, as it should be.
Oh no, the insanity of the idea of sticking naval artillery onto a land vehicle. Nope, that's just no craziness. No, like I've seen videos of the one that they have in the Russian tank museum.
I've been there.
It is. You've been beside this thing?
I have been there, yes. If anybody gets the chance to go, it is well worth it. The funniest thing, is a quick plug for it, is they don't actually know what they've got for a tourist attraction. So they are all in aircraft hangars. And the funniest thing is I walked into the German one looking for the mouse tank. That is why I was coming. And it's not there.
Really?
Because you can't see it, because it's hidden behind a Karl mortar.
Oh, right.
And of course, it is another one of those, is I'd gone to see almost a unique and was so disappointed that I was only looking at a Karl mortar. And I walked down, and then suddenly a little barrel appears as I walk past a Sturmtiger.
Yeah.
And the tanks that are there is just amazing. I suppose the only other collection I would put it close to that I've been to is Bovington.
I actually have never been to Bovington either. I keep meaning to go with John. We talk about it every year. And I mean, like, I would love to go to something like Tiger Day.
Yes.
Just to see.
Yes, I would too.
Running.
I've never done Tiger Day, but I plan to. I'm moving back to the UK in a week.
Nice.
And that is on my to-do list.
Nice. Well, I'll tell you what, if you ever want to do like a
I'll give you a shout.
team
That would be awesome.
We'll bring OT, we'll bring Battlefront, we'll have beers, it'll be a great time.
That will be that's definitely a date.
All right, so this is also doing us for our vehicles, our artillery, our infantry, anything for the air power in here as well?
Yes, absolutely. Air's in there as well.
Nice. And then, so this is all of the American stuff. We've got some artillery here, and then we go to the Germans. Germans in
and here's
late
the air
war.
we were talking about.
Ah, yes. But Germans in late war.
Yes.
They start to get some of the big toys.
Yes, the big cats. Yeah.
So you've got Tigers, you've got Panthers, you've got King Tiger.
Yeah.
Any others you want to give a shout out to?
At the moment, I would think is the Jagdpanther is one of my favourites. They're obviously, it's got the Ferdinand. We'll transition into the Elephant later. But yes, all the known culprits will be covered. The Nashorns, the Hummels, etc., etc.
Yeah, and German big armor is very scary. You really need to get onto the flanks to actually start dealing with it. It's one thing I've always noticed. German tanks in games are always just that bit tougher than everything else, but you have less of them. So there's a nice balance to the tactics of your games.
Well, it's one of the things that is always mentioned is, even though I don't like calling it there, but it's called codex creep. Of course, sadly for our game, codex creep is absolutely real because nobody in World War II was designing tanks going, you know what, I'll make a tank that's not quite as good as the ones that are out there already.
Yeah, or I'll make a tank that's just as good as that one and no more.
Exactly. What they were always looking for was the advantage. Well, when that comes out, the other side hasn't got time yet to react. So there is always that cat and mouse bit.
Yeah, it's what I call the miniatures arms race.
Yes.
Because it happens in every single game. So I've started with my starter box. I've had my first games. All of a sudden, my mate has went out and got an extra unit of 88s, and holy crap, I need something to deal with this.
Yes.
So you even have that among the player base.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
So, German stuff. I'm assuming this is definitely one of the first stop-offs you would say for someone to actually jump into the game after they've got their starter sets.
I think so, especially if you're a new player. Absolutely. It gets you going and it's there. For existing older gamers, it is the stepping stone until your books come along.
Yeah, there's one nice thing this book does as well for a new gamer. It allows you to familiarize yourself with your opponent.
Yes.
Because sometimes whenever you're just starting out, you know what your stuff does. You have no idea what your opponent does.
Yep.
So having that bit of information gives you a little bit of an edge to actually just keep pace with each other a lot better.
Yeah, and bring you into the robustness of the hobby as a whole is being able to see Russians there. You never know what your next tank might be, next army might be. You might want to go infantry of the same nation, or you might want to pop over and go, I'm going to go Russian now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like it's nice to have all that information, and you've got the way you guys lay your books out is beautiful. I will say that they are just a pleasure to look at. And that's always a bonus to
I think the guys in New Zealand do a really, really good job. And, we always moan at them for more, faster, quicker, but they do some beautiful work.
Yeah, and then we're into the Russians, who are my favorites. Now, each nation kind of has its own feel and flavor within the current edition.
Yeah.
What would you say, describe to me very quickly each of the big four for what's special?
Yeah, I can. I would say you've already hit on with Germans. They are relying on very good firepower and very good armor.
Yeah, they've got some good movement abilities.
Absolutely. Russian still has horde mentality, but in here we have a T-34 hero army, which puts them much more into comparable to Brits, Americans, and Germans on rating and that sort of stuff. So changes them. But there is something about you can still run your 21 or 31 T-34 Tiger army, T-34 army. And there is something scary about not having the firepower capable to push that off.
Yeah, well, it's the idea of, you're going to kill some of us.
Yes.
The rest of us are going to make it to where we can actually hurt you.
Yeah. And in many ways, I would say, I think the idea of the British Army having that sort of true grit, we are just going to fight our way through, is still in there. And actually, the Americans, a bit more technological bit is so gyro stabilizers and this sort of thing. So moving and shooting effectively on the move. Just with the demo game that I just ran out there, that would have changed everything if the players had not had to stop to get full rate of fire. Because again, when you're rolling a couple more dice, there's always that chance that you get the 6 that you need.
Well, if I can roll an extra dice rather than get a +1 on something, I'll take the extra dice every day of the week, even if I'm on like a 6+.
Yep. Yeah. No, is with the 17% chance, that is definitely one of those calculations that many players will do.
Oh yeah. Now, there's one other thing in this book which I think is very clever on your part, and it's right at the back here. If I remember correctly, one thing you guys have also done, so you've got a basing guide, very useful little pieces of hobby stuff, but then you actually do a catalogue.
Yes.
And it's very light, it's right at the back of the book, so it's not in your way. But if you're just sitting having a flick through thinking, what do I want to explore next? What do I want to grab next? What would be fun? What actually comes in that Soviet force that I've been thinking of grabbing for my brother for his birthday or my sister for her birthday? So it's nice just to have that little bit of an Argos catalogue feel, just at the very end.
And I think, again, we have to always, I think everybody knows, we are a commercial company as well. But having the products that are there to enable you an easy movement forward in the hobby, I think is essential for it. And I think actually that was Pete's idea, is why are we not putting in something that helps people with their hobby purchases in the correct manner? Because far too many times you will have chats with people where they've gone, I bought this, but actually it doesn't fit. And go, yes, and normally done out of, well, maybe they didn't read enough at the beginning or an unclear message. Yeah.
Well, it's one thing I used to notice, even just to have the image in front of you to remind you that there is more out there is good. I mean, like I used to read novel series, and every time I opened the novel series, there would be a couple of pages front and back just showing the next ones in the book series I was reading, or just other ones by that author. So having that is absolutely fine by me, and I love the idea of it.
Cool. Well, thank you.
Right, John, thank you very much. That is Fortress Europe, everybody. If you are moving from mid-war to late war, this is going to be the one for you. If you're a new player, this is going to be a great one to give you all the information you need to actually keep up pace and know what your opponents are doing and what to stay away from on the tabletop.
Very true.
Myself and John will move on here. We'll see you again soon.
Visit OnTableTop.com and comment on all 3 days of the Flames of War Bootcamp to be in with a chance of winning one of 3 Flames of War bundles.